additional undisclosed location. This is your host Tanky, and yesterday we had been fighting the Dark Eldar. We hadn't been able to stop them from raiding our capital, annoyingly enough. But we have been. But we did kick them out. Um. So we did kick them out, which is good. So now we are going to be crowned officially the new head of the Von Valencius dynasty, the new rogue trader. And all the other rogue traders in the sector are coming to take a look at us. Wait. Did I not save? Thought I saved. Yeah, I did this last time. Serious blow, it will take time for Dragonist. Abelard and Henrix. Yep. Despite the resounding hum of the tech priest's words of prayer, the bridge feels unusually quiet. All sound sinks into a viscous silence like pebbles sinking into the water. I'm going to read this because, while I did it last time, it is interesting. Amelia, my tech comrades have spent the assigned numbers of cycle and prayer in vigil. Everything is prepared for the implement a ritual of cleansing. Its commencement will require an authorization in the form of blood on Valancius. If you are ready, place a hand into a cyber gargoyle's receiving nodule. All personnel whose function is below critical level have been removed for the duration of the sacred ritual. Get out. NOM-OS analyzing intrusion. NOM-OS analyzing hypothesis lockout. NOM-OS analyzing conclusion prevention. NOM-OS sad. Complementary ritual is proceeding as intended. Pascal's voice is cuts off abruptly. He brings a hand to his Vox communicator in surprise. NOM-OS exec stop. NOM-OS quiet. Hello. Hello to you too. Namos are glad to be speaking. Namos are here. Namos have long been here. Why are we here? Nomos. We are Nomos. Pascal uses his hands and mechadendrites to gesture at his silent clock system. No data available. No answer. We want to know too. Nomos do not know. Nomos do not know themselves. Nomos wanted no disturbance, only quiet. Sometimes, some people, Nomos can do many things. We do not always know what or how. We do not know what we could make silent. We did not know we could make silence until now. Extraordinary. Extraordinary transmission jamming, unknown protocols. What has been revealed to me is the omnisized glory or foul tech heresy. I would like to... Namos on Valancius, we are your blood. Namos our sentinel. We awoke when the strange light invaded the ship. We protected you when you needed help. We escorted you when you were surrounded by danger. Namos our movement. We carry you through the frightening, the waiting, the measureless. We helped when our ailing heart was refusing to awaken. You asked for rescue. We did as you asked. The orb activation against all probability during our escape from Reichhead system. The Category 3 miracle was manifested by the ship's machine spirit. And that part about protecting, was it during the cultist attack? We did everything to please you. Why? Why do you fear us now? Namos are glad. Namos enjoy understanding too. Amelia, entities such as this one ought to be addressed using the language of sacred rituals and offerings. Your unskilled meddling bodes ill. A decision is required of you. Either the complementary ritual is finished, or it is replaced by a rite of tech communion. In the first scenario, the entity Nomos will be banished, and the sacred data halls where the entity will be reset. In the second scenario, you will appease the entity and learn more about it. Yes, Nomos did that. Are you angry? We only wanted to understand, to see how things work. Nomos learn. Nomos try new things. Do you want to see? Your gaze falls upon one of the monotonously anti-junior technomats. You blink, and an electric discharge erupts from inside the technomat's skull. The crimson-clad figure slumps to the floor. Does it please you? Do you want us to do it again? Amelia, you are provoking the machine spirit. Stop. I most enjoy communication. Amelia is our blood. Let's do heretical again. Well, at least Pascal isn't suspicious about this. Are you pleased with what we can do, Amelia? We enjoy doing things with you. We almost want to learn what we are too. We will add things to your log, things that might help. Let's help you. Decision is made. I will begin preparations for the communion rite at once. Many cycles of interaction with the entity Namos await me, but I welcome the task and accept it from the Omnissiah. Amos are glad. Amelia, will you speak with us too? We want you to speak with us too. Lord Captain's body lacks the sacred implements necessary for tech communing with the machine spirit's code, but if such is your wish, Amelia can converse with you using lowly sound speech, as she is doing now. Amos are glad. We have been lonely. Our work here is done, Amelia. I will let my tech comrades know that we are stopping the complementary ritual. Thank you for appearing before us, Entity Namos. Yeah, this is definitely AI.
Lord Captain? No, definitely not. No, I don't recall anything like that. Lord Captain.
Lord Captain, the ship informed me of our imminent meeting. All of Lady Theodora's journeys could be considered unusual. Her odysseys were always audacious. As for the words you mentioned, none of them sound familiar to me as far as I can tell. Except maybe the incident. I recall coming across this word in the transmissions several times. I think it was repeated by former Engiseer, the one who perished during Conrad Voigtbeer's uprising. He was describing it as the incident, something quite remarkable. Apparently, at some point in the past, the entire ship was hit by a massive system failure. All systems stopped responding for 1/5 of a second. Most of the crew, including myself as I was likely aboard at the time, did not notice anything strange, but tech priests are sensitive to such things. That is all I can tell you, Lord Captain. I wish I could help you more. Don't you know it, Lord Captain? Both of us were born in the cold vastness of space, but there are no two identical tales, just as there are no two identical stars. If you like, I will gladly tell you about the lives of the Voidborn aboard this vessel. To us, the groans and creaks and murmurs of the ship sound the way babbling brooks and singing birds do to world dwellers. We hear the ship breathe, know what it is feeling and thinking. We are part of the ship just like it is a part of us. We perform numerous functions, and there are many officers among our number. Some maintain order and prevent mutiny, others serve as shepherds and support the crew, and some devote themselves to mending the body and spirit of the vessel. Most of the Voidborn are members of large void ship dynasties, but bear responsibility for a certain aspect of the ship's life. For 300 years, the main branch of the Ptolemaic dynasty has produced the ship's Voxmasters, and most of our subordinates come from the cadet houses of the dynasty. Life has been quite generous to me, Lord Captain. I am the Voxmaster, and only the best in the dynasty can become one. By virtue of my skills and position, no one has ever denied me anything. Our family claims a spacious section for its demesnes. I also enjoy long walks through the narrow and dimly lit corridors of the ship, listening to the sounds of her activity, falling asleep and waking up to the chanting of her hymns, and admiring the stars beyond, of course. We look, speak, and move differently from the inhabitants of the planetary worlds. Our way of life, traditions, and quirks frighten these people, just like the darkness of the cosmos. Many believe us to be the bringers of ill fortune, and alas, it is the Voidborn who get the blame for terrible warp phenomena during longer voyages. Several years ago, an unfortunate warp jump caused all the food on board to spoil. 15 days later, a hungry and furious crew nearly massacred everyone on the lower decks, blaming us for the misfortune and hoping to restock the larders with our flesh. I would have been killed during the mutiny had Adira to last not shown up in the right place at the right time. She came to my rescue, and the scoundrels' fear of her was even greater than their fear of the Voidborn. Voidborn seldom make friends, especially among the captain's entourage, but you see, many consider Adira to be different. I am different too. We have plenty of time in each other's company, discussing regicide over a glass of Amasek. Except Adira changed after one incident, and we started to drift apart. The death of the Lord Captain Theodora made her withdraw even more. I do not know if Adira still considers me her friend now, but we used to be very, very close. It is good I can still look after her in my own way. Interpreting the Vox Master's emotions based on half a face and a Vox-modulated voice is no easy task, but you managed to catch the undercurrent in Vigdis's words. The Vox Master is not merely saddened by her rift with Adira, she is devastated by it. Oh, I did once, and it was dreadful. It felt like the massive blue dome overhead could shatter at any moment and fall. My bones would be crushed by the gravity. Vigdis twitches her shoulders, trying to ward off the flood of memories. The ship is my home, Lord Captain, and I would not trade it even for the bounty of 100 worlds.
They mean nothing to me. They're just words. A whisper. So quiet, I barely caught it. Like a feather landing on a pile of down. Something about damned ambitions, antiquity, terrible antiquity. And chance. Chance through it all. Oh, now I have a headache. And the stupid bloody whisper wasn't much help. Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored without our little talk, Shireen? Oh, Shireen! Thank you for such generosity. I will humbly wait until you steer your vessel towards Dargonus. The Mercatum Tabula Officiale. It sounds almost as majestic as the warrant of trade. It is difficult not to be aware of the powers that be, especially ones like Lord Captain Theodora. But we never met personally, as the difference between our positions was far too great. Theodora was a mighty ruler, the center of her own universe. And I, a pathetic commoner, was nothing next to her. But you were kind to me, Shireen. And in my eyes, that put you above your esteemed aunt, or whoever she was to you. Argenta? What could be more beautiful than the sight of a sister of battle, whose mere presence casts light in the dark corners of lost souls such as mine? But alas, what remains of my sanity is telling me that poor Jai can only admire the radiance of this angel, forsaking any hope of ever touching her wings. The dark side is the real Coronation expanse, if you ask me. But what do you want to know about it, Shireen? Dynasties drink with criminals. Rogue traders strike deals with the Casbalica. And dozens of ships stop off for a welcome break from a long voyage. Is there a more beautiful place in the entire Imperium? The Emperor is merciful to the meek and the powerful alike. There's a job for everyone as long as they have a head on their shoulders. And if you feel like talking to him in person, The statue of the Exalted One can be seen from any asteroid. You can pray to your heart's content. An ancient crime cartel that originated with the first settlers of the Calixis sector. It is run by shadowy clans with robber barons at the helm. Cross their path, and you risk making enemies all over the Coronation expanse, or even the entire Imperium. As for the agents, they are just shameless, greedy scum. Every third person on Footfall is a Casbalican.
Interesting.
But that doesn't mean all that rotten filth is acting together. I've been set up more than once just so some Casbalican can get one over on his rivals. And yet, the Casbalica is generous to its customers, if you can afford it. Anything can be obtained, organized, and transported for the right price. The customer is always right, unless they happen to be a rat. In which case...
Yeah.
What gave you such an outrageous idea? Was it my immaculate garment? My gorgeous jewelry? Do not worry, Shireen. I will let you know once I become a baroness, should the Exalted One will it. Just imagine the strong and fruitful alliance that could be forged between a rogue trader and the mastermind of the Casbalica. It's not hard to do on Footfall. I spent a year working for good old Christo. He was a brave soldier who gave up the ghost in a scuffle with orcs, and then took over his business. Having a good head on your shoulders and keeping the Exalted One in your heart helps to establish new contacts quickly. Eventually, I gathered together a group of honest and loyal
Really
people.
honest and loyal.
And it only took a few successful contracts for the Casbalica to take notice. I quickly settled on Footfall and started dispensing my wisdom to my protégés and subordinates. I lost the taste for getting my hands dirty. It really is simple, Shireen. The Casbalica runs the Imperium's black market, offering special goods to those who can afford their services. Yes, I am talking about Xeno artifacts too. Alien weapons, technology, sometimes even certain kinds of living creatures.
Please tell
Unlike
me
the
not
rogue traders whose sacred
gene
warrants make them
stealers.
immune even from the laws of the Exalted One, Casbalican agents are used to hiding and covering their tracks. Nobody wants to draw unwanted attention, no matter who might take an interest. Especially now that the Coronation expanse has a warrior of the Golden Throne as its watchman. Why not? The decision is yours, Sherry. Oh, I have no doubt.
You have my complete attention. The cult's ordinary members are humans who have been corrupted by the archenemy. Traitor. As for those at the top of the cult's hierarchy, we have not yet managed to get a lead on all... As you wish.
Oh, Argenta.
Greetings.
Nope, I can't touch her back then.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is. I have enjoyed your company.
The Omniscient knows all. Comprehend. May your...
Eivor is down here. Can't say that I do, Lord Captain. Doesn't ring any bells. Then again, remembering all the places Lady Theodora went to. Epitaph incident. We've always had heaps of incidents happening on board, but through my implants, I feel at one with the ship, and I sense that, and I don't know what, and it happened exactly. It started behaving differently, became more responsive, livelier. Yes, livelier is exactly the word. And when you said epitaph incident, it just dawned on me. Pardon my bungled report, Lord Captain, but that's all I've got to say on that front. I've heard that name, that much I'm sure of. But I can't recall the details. Wonder if I was part of that operation the late Mort was put in charge. Part of that operation that the late Mort was put in charge of. If it was, then there's nothing I can tell you, Lord Captain. The whole thing was kept under wraps, not rats. Your best chances would be to ask the High Factotum. Maybe some of his treasury records have mentions of this fiery reckoning. Good-for-nothing wasters, that's what they are. Each and every one. And take generous Stanrock, that high-born weasel. He fawns over the officers, but some of the deals he makes would get him burned alive. He drags other people into his schemes so they can take the fall for him. One of my junior helmsmen was ferrying goods from Footfall for him, got caught by the Seneschal, and ended up in the Void Hatch. Stanrock couldn't care less. The Vox Master, another Ptolemy like the last one, and Void rest him is no better. And she cut off half the Vox channels the other day. She cut off half the Vox channels the day she took her up her post. Said the Vox systems were damaged and the Engineerium had no contact with the other modules. But how am I supposed to steer the ship? Collect the COGS reports with the power of my mind? First officer was Arian. I can't stand him. Like every Navy officer I ever met. He doesn't know a thing about controlling the vessel in the void, but he puffs himself up all the same and throws his weight around. Me and him had to have words a few times before he left me alone. Thank the Emperor Lady Theodora trusted me more than the Seneschal when it came to helming a void ship. Then there's that woman, what's her name, Tlass? Lady Theodora brought her along wherever she went, and look what happened to her. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that it was that witch that delivered her to an early grave, just like countless souls before. Don't see why anyone would want that walking calamity on their ship, but some would disagree. They say she is friends with young Ptolemy, you know, or at least she used to be. What kind of question is that? I like you, and Lady Theodora before you. Where would I be if I was making cracks about the rogue trader? Ha! I don't want to die just yet. Lord Captain? Oh, is this a quest where we wait in the grim dark DMV? Turn after turn, the unceasing stream of petitioners pours through the palace. The strong will wait patiently, while the weak will try everything they can to get ahead of the others.
We must act.
Welcome to the palace of the Adeptus Administratum. Identifying your ladyship, please follow me.
Victory awaits.
Continue in this direction to reach your destination. Your visit has been logged. Towering piles of paper and endless shelves, heaving with ledgers, evokes special reverence for the laws of the God Emperor in the hearts of the servants of the Adeptus Administratum. Chronicle of Case 6832-720. The parchment looks grease-marked and old, as though it has been passed through many, many pairs of hands. Servants of the Imperium, Elias Tantong filed a declaration with the Adeptus Administratum that he is the sole heir of House Tantong and the legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex. According to the submission, Elias Tantong cannot exercise his right into this inheritance, as the wider family tree includes an individual who shares his full legal name. According to the petitioner, this individual is his great-grandfather. Given the loss of documents confirming the death of the second claimant to the inheritance, Elias Tantong is petitioning for confirmation of his relative's death and permission for the enactment of his inheritance rights. Petition received. Preliminary period up to 15 Terran cycles. I think that's years. Forwarded for review. 23 Terran cycles. 4 turns from date of submission. Request for a copy of the death certificate of Elias Tantong sent to the archives of the Departamento Munitorum, 28 turn cycles, 2 turns from the date of submission. Petition rejected, 39 Terran cycles, 11 turns from the date of submission. Second petition sent to the archive, 44 Terran cycles, 4 turns from date of submission. Petition approved, 52 Terran cycles from date of submission. After 48 repeated submissions from Elias Antonon, a second request was sent to the archive, 79 Terran cycles, 7 turns from date of submission. A copy of the death certificate of Elias Tantanol, great-grandfather of the petitioner, received 84 Terran cycles, 6 turns from date of submission. The documents forwarded for formulation of decision and granting permission for the enactment of the inheritance rights of Elias Tantanol, sole heir of his house and legal sovereign of the northern continent of the planet Ergona Rex, 101 Terran cycles, 5 turns from date of submission. Death of Elias Tantanol recorded by servants of Adeptus Administratum. Place of death, Q16. Wills, Legacies, and Inheritance. Waiting Hall, Palace of the Adeptus Administratum, Dargonis, 106 Terran cycles, 2 turns from date of submission. Death certificate of Elias Tantanol sent to the archives of Departamento Munitorum, 114 Terran cycles, 10 turns from date of submission. Petition for the enactment of inheritance rights following the death of Elias Tantanol and for the issuance of a copy of the death certificate received from the deceased's daughter, Eliazet Antonal. 114 Terran cycles, 11 turns from date of submission. Sacred Skull, the 1005 admonitions of Master Inventory, Avalicious, to the adepts of the Administratum. An ancient-looking woman in a voluminous robe peers critically through her ocular lens when you descend into the bounds of her bureaucratic domain. Another noble bypassing the queue under the pretext of just wanted to ask. All you highborn ever want is just to ask. But what about protocol? That's what I'm asking. Who's going to follow protocol? What, so I paid off a few clerks to let us skip the queue, Shireen? Your time is more important to me than any little formalities. Very well, don't just stand there, or do you think the Master of Seals has nothing better to do than receive unexpected visitors? The old woman beckons over a servo skull floating nearby. Begin, current hour, current cycle, current turns, current hour, current turn, current cycle, 41st millennium. Metal manipulators immediately begin feverishly clacking, taking dictation. I take it you are her sponsor. In that case, you must submit a written application in conformity with template 404.01, as well as written permission for the processing and notarization of the personal data of your most sacred personage. Without it, I cannot issue Mistress Haydari. Mistress Haydari, the form for collecting the seals required to obtain the Mercatum Tabula Officiale, the certificate of an official trade representative. Seals? What seals? We will discuss that when Amelia von Valencius has prepared the primary documentation. Abelard lets out a stoic sigh and roll of his eyes. You get the feeling that this is not his first personal interaction with administrative bureaucracy, nor is it his second. The perfectly sharpened quill scratches pleasantly on the parchment, but for the first few minutes, the obfuscatory phrasing, footnotes, amendments, you are forced to write out the same details over and over about you, the Protectorate, Theodora von Valencius, J, and then also every living person who bears your family name. If you do not know all the required information, you must complete supplementary forms. The Master of Seals nods in approval and stows the scroll into a tube labeled with your name. Next is the consent form for processing and notarization of personal data of your most sacred personage. The scroll is whipped away into another tube by the Master of Seals. Protocol executed. Application received. Processed. Approved. Come on, esteemed Damar. What's that you were saying about Steels? Here's your document, Miss Haydari. Unfortunately, it does not yet have legal force. I can certify it with a sacred Mercatum Tabula official once it has received 2 seals of approval. They are easy to obtain, and the Imperium Court Administratum servers have been handling such tasks for over 150 cycles. There's one such servitor here on Dargonis in the Rogue Trader's Palace. The second is duty-bound to keep the seal in the Telecos Epsilon system. According to Amendment 3C8, implemented by Perfectus Astinia II of Dargonis, one of the seals must be kept in the palace of the ruler of the Von Valencia's protectorate, remaining a symbol of the unbreakable link between the Sacred Warrant and the Adeptus Administratum. The second seal, the ocular lens perched on her nose clicks as she rifles through moldering scrolls with her wrinkled fingers, is held in Telecos Epsilon system in accordance with Decree OL008ZN. Unfortunately, after a fire 200 cycles ago, all that remains of the original decree is an addendum certified by an unknown adept with the initials AA. No instructions repealing this decree were ever received from Holy Terra, therefore the seal remains where it ought to be. Please do return once you have prepared the documents.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Are my eyes and minds failing me, or did the Rogue Trader's shoulders just brush against me? Look at them, all dressed up in their finery. Important folk, I suppose. But in this blessed place, all are equal.
A new challenge for me.
Oh, I am going to get the fucking thing, so might as well take a J with me. Okay, talk to Clementia. Mr. Saidari, my patience is not easily exhausted, but you're coming very close. I shall repeat myself again. No, I will not be issuing you any... no, not in exchange for your honest word nor for a bribe. I can see the family resemblance with Abelard now. You cannot see farther than your own nose, my dear, Clementia. It wasn't a bribe, it was a gift. Now about that seal. Let the rogue trader decide. Your ladyship, I apologize for this ugly scene, but might I ask that you rein in Mistress Dari and put a stop to her inflammatory actions towards me. As the Exalted One is my witness, Shireen, I've tried everything I could to spare you any unnecessary headache over the seals for the Mercatum Tabula Officiale. I even showed this aid with a temper worse than a sandstorm the certificate with your signature, but your Chancellor merely kept batting me away with her flail of baseless denials. I suspect that the reason for this has nothing to do with my humble personage. Oh, this isn't about me at all. I see. Well, Chancellor, will you tell us yourself, or should I help you? I'm afraid that my words may anger your ladyship. The seal you are looking for was lost over a quarter of a century. Her ladyship Theodora von Valencia has ordered a new one to be delivered from the Imperium, but, as you well know, we are a long way from the Holy Terra, and with the warp storms ravaging the Corona's expanse, we have been unable to receive a replacement to this day. This is, without a doubt, the administrative seal from the Winter Scales realm, but why is it the original and not a copy? I think I understand. Well, the laws of the Imperium do not prohibit heirs of other houses from using the seal in times of need. I will order to have servants of the machine cult create a duplicate so we can avoid such embarrassing predicaments in the future. I was wanted to know if I could ask him about how he was tortured by the Drukari. Your ladyship, it is a great honor to serve you in an undertaking as monumental and glorious as the Magna Accessio ceremony. I'm not going to get ambushed again, aren't I? Remember the last time we met with a Master of Ceremonies? We went through a parade, we got ambushed by crazy-ass cultists. I have indeed, your ladyship. I have been given the honor of being a steward of this eminent palace, and on the occasion of your ladyship's ascension, I will be overseeing the preparations for the ceremony. House Wassarian, to whom you have entrusted the arrangement for the festivities, is overjoyed at having received the honor of introducing you to your subjects, and humbly thanks you. The palace decorations are prepared, and we are ready to begin at your command. The festive activities in the capital have likewise been arranged, and the guests of honor have either arrived on the planet or are awaiting invitation near orbit. and the servants are already in your chambers to see to it that you are impeccably garbed for the occasion. Let's begin. Oh yeah, the blood sports I authorized. That is a lot of fucking blood. The crowd is roiling, your electrified exaltation filling the air of Darkonis. Thousands of throats chant your name. You are at the apex of this world and all others. Master of Ceremonies, amplified by 100 voxes, the voice of the Master of Ceremonies booms. Rejoice, subjects of Darkonis. You have been granted the felicity of witnessing your mistress, a great honor bestowed upon us by rogue trader Amelia von Valancius. Excruciator of heretics, who eradicated the corruption of archenemy worshippers and cleansed Janus. Gracious protector of footfall, patron of trade. A hush falls over the upon you in adoration. Many of them bear terrible scars from the recent battle with Darkonis. Like children, they await the word of their almighty mother. Adequate. Darkonis has not disappointed you. You remember the next part, yes, your ladyship? Will be asked to take the oath. And broken by adversity, to walk bravely burst into darkness, to unite and reclaim what was lost, to triumph over nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily the road of thorns, through pain to greatness. You hear a rumble. It is the roar of the sea of your subjects. With jubilation and devout fear, they welcome your ascension. It is done. The swords belonged to a presumptuous governor of Abo VI, who staged a revolt years ago. The insurrectionist's hands, preserved against decay, still rest on the sword's hilts. These sinister Xenos instruments of death are now trophies demonstrating the invincibility of Hans von Valancius. The Ancient Chronicle contains a long list of pirate dens annihilated by the von Valancius dynasty and planets brought into Imperial compliance. Skull of the legendary pirate Lashim the Freak, who terrorized the Coronas expanse 3 centuries ago. It was claimed in a boarding attack by the esteemed Theodora von Valancius. Are they in my office? No. Oh, they're over here. Caligos Winterscale. Amelia, there you are. Welcome to the circle where each member is as powerful, ambitious, and greedy and vain as the last. That is to say, the noble rogue traders. Incendia Corda is watching him with barely suppressed contempt. Yes, you have found yourself suitable company, Caligos. At the very least, now you can enjoy idle diversions, boast about your power, and indulge in profane pastimes with one who is your equal, rather than a member of lower classes. Caligos Winterscale is a broad-shouldered, athletic-looking man. He frequently flashes a bright smile no less dazzling than the blade of the power axe he carries. Every part of him, from the toes of his magnificent boots to the tips of his hair, radiates strength and desire to live and win. His smile is crooked, as if ready to turn into a hostile snarl at any moment. Next to him is an unmoving hulk of a man clad in armor. His low forehead and gloomy expression bear signs of degradation, and his bloodshot eyes are expressionless, like a pair of glass buttons. Incendia Corda radiates cosmic cold. Her skin... Wow, that was a weird sound I made. Her skin is unnaturally white, and a nervous tick is constantly tugging at her at the left side of her noble visage. Garbed in a full dress uniform adorned with purity seals, she is the embodiment of a true imperial aristocrat. On her side is a gaunt shadow of a priest in plain black robes. Hieronymus Doloroso, whom you met at Footfall, gives you a respectful nod. Friends, eh? Would you look at that, Incendia? Now you have a whole friend! Winterscale gives you a carefree wink, but his posture exudes challenge. I will think twice before calling an individual of questionable purity my friend. Did you expect any different? I watched for years as outlaws thrived on Footfall, and then, at long last, I had the chance to put an end to it, to seize that thug Vladium by the throat, to force Footfall to atone, and put the fear of him back into the masses. But you interfered and destroyed my plan for the sake of banal profit. What's more, ever since you gave them provisions, heresy on footfall has only increased. Fanatics calling themselves harvesters are spreading their blasphemous doctrine in the shadow quarters. Grain is not enough for those madmen. No, they devour their brothers and sisters at secret heretical feasts. The well-fed rabble has surely, since they are free to act with impunity, and forgotten their duty to the Emperor. Theodora taught you only too well, it seems. She was far less concerned with her duty to the Expanse than her own personal interests, but you can be sure that I will not cease cleansing the Furibundus system of Pirate Scourge, and if your trade prospects are damaged in the process, you will have only yourself to blame. The priest holds up his hands in a placating gesture. None are without fault, noble Incendia. What is the point? What point is there in targeting someone for their turpitude when true purity can never be found? A forgivable lack of insight for an administratum clerk, but not for a rogue trader. Caligos laughs unabashedly. Conserve your poisoned arrows, Incendia. I can sense a hot temper in the new blood. She just might declare war on you, and I just might support her. He gives you a conspiratorial wink. The esteemed Hieronymus is my confessor. I am greatly obliged to him for agreeing to accompany me on this journey. Faith is everything to me. In his name I have eradicated corruption on 100 worlds, and will do so on 1,000 more. By his will I hunt down pirates and desolate their viral nests. Let court and name make any firebrand tremble, for sooner or later I will cast them into the void. The funny thing is, people still call me the foul-tempered tyrant in all this. Caligos's amiable smile somehow resembles the bared teeth of a wild animal. She was of the same breed as Asp. She stops short and then continues in a lowered voice, conceited, insolent, and unaware of the Emperor's stern gaze set upon her. I do not doubt her wisdom and courage, but Theodora did not have a shred of humility or fear of his wrath. You know of whose name Incendia almost uttered. You have heard it in your former life more than once. Aspis Corda, a rogue trader of the Coronation Expanse, an infamously merciless and avaricious pillager, was scarcely different from a common pirate and heretic. One would never think so by looking at Incendia Baston Corda, but it appears she and Aspis are related. Well, I for one liked Theodora, the stories they told of her travels to nameless stars, and yes, there was no fear in her. Interscale sighs pensively, and his lively expression grows a little grayer. The example of the contemptible Aspis is a warning to us all. Even among rogue traders empowered by the Emperor himself, a seed of perversion can blossom. You notice Incendia seemingly freeze and choke up at the mention of Aspis, but the priest's condemning words caused her icy rigidness to evaporate, and her dark eyes fill with righteous fury. That reprobate is my forebear and my curse. Aspis Corda was a cruel, covetous, blaspheming monster, and she fraternized with Xenos. She despised the faith. She robbed and slaughtered. She was drawn to dark secrets. One day she boarded her ship and vanished into the depths of the Coronation expanse, and she was declared missing. But I know the bloody day will come when we see Aspis Corda's battle flagship once more. Polite, or I think we can just be polite. We got our burns in. Will not be a long one, I assure you. Caligos gives you a cheerful and somewhat feral smile. As a sign of your gratitude, you could return something of mine that has found its way into your pockets. Footfall Station sounds familiar. After all I asked you to do was help that crafty slug Vladium deal with threat of famine, not claim my property for yourself. Oh, I pissed him off. Simply colluding with that two-faced snake Vladium would have been bad enough, but that your conniving has destroyed any pathetic excuse for order that was on that station is pure insolence. I don't know what you did, but now, on top of everything, every other mangy dog that lives on Footfall, there's this new cult of harvesters. What good is your grain if the station is now crawling with flesh-eating lunatics? Caligos's face turns into a grimace of hatred, but then he catches Incendia looking at him and breaks into a sly smile. I ought to make your protector bleed as compensation, but you have spitted on both myself and Incendia, and it is high time our dear sister curbed her appetites. For this I forgive you, but do not test my mercy again. It is not my strong suit. Thwarting Incendia Corda's ambition deserves a worthy trophy. He snaps his fingers, and the armored brute hands you an exotically adorned rifle, clearly not of human making. It's a trophy from the Good Hunt. You and I should hunt together, so you can show yourself in action, new blood. Caligos exuberantly punches you in the shoulder. Oh yes, I claimed it in the rips of Hecaton, where we had a clash with Xenos. They were really trying to get my throat, and by the heathen stars, they almost succeeded. Caligos is speaking with such joy, it is as though he is recounting the best day of his life. Only 1 in 10 made it out of Hecaton, and now it's only me and Wharton here. We returned without any loot, and virtually without a ship. All I got from that ship was a hole full of dead Xenos and this deadly beauty, which their leader used to put 2 holes in my hide. Impressive victory, but do you truly believe a creation of ungodly Xenos to be a good gift, Caligos? You would call into question the privileges bestowed upon me by the Emperor? You can try. Let St. Drusus' mission put forth their champion, and I will slay him in trial by combat. Threaten the esteemed Hieronymus one more time, Caligos, and the war that you love to prattle on about will commence, I swear it. 1 drop of holy blood spilt by you will send the remains of your realm up in flames, better than any tanker of Prometheum. Incendia and Caligos exchange looks of fury, the latter snarling like a wolf, and is clearly ready to start said war here and now. Hieronymus's dry voice hits your ear like the crack of a whip. Quell your pride, both of you. I do not wish to fight you, Caligos, but you fear not your threats. Death does not frighten me, for it is inevitable. It is as true as the senseless and pointlessness of a war between us. Protectorate? More like the bleeding scraps of one. The warp storm tore it to shreds, but my servants will piece it back together. If they don't, I'll chop off their heads and find myself more capable helpers. Something strikes you as strange. Caligos Winterscale wasn't always this nonchalant about his protectorate. He used to be known as shrewd and business-minded, even concerned for his subjects, but it seems he has grown bored of ruling. This is Wharton the Grey, my arch-militant, a fierce warrior, and as loyal to me as an obedient beast to its master. I bought him in a miserable colony back when he was a runt on his last legs. Now he is practically a part of my dynasty. Wharton the Grey, whose skin really is dotted with grey spots, looks at Caligos with purest devotion. Indeed, he is akin to an animal, one that is bloodthirsty and mindless. Winterscale remarks, taking an obvious jab. I've heard that you, Amelia, are decent in a fight. What do you think? Could you gut Wharton if it came down to it, or would he be the one gutting you? The grey spots on Wharton's face are what catch your attention. Marks like these can be seen on fighters who are too fond of combat stimulants. A small price to pay for the increased speed and reaction that could save your life in a fight, although those spots are usually tiny pockmarks, not whole islands of grey on the skin. Ignoring the fearsome-looking broadsword and pistol, which hang from his belt rather ostentatiously, you notice a great number of thin blades with curved edges skillfully concealed within Wharton's armor. These toys are deadly in the hands of a quick fighter. It appears Winterscale's arch-militant likes to surprise his opponent with unexpected speed. A new glint appears in the bloodshot eyes, a glint of appraisal, intelligent and cunning. No, Wharton is not the thick, bloodthirsty beast he wants to be seen as. Behind this mask is a careful and keen mind. Kill someone important with it. That would be the best show of gratitude. I like it. One can instantly tell we've been invited by a rogue trader, not some administratum bootlicker. We are conquerors of wild sectors, slayers of unknown beasts, executioners of Xenos empires. Caligos, you should take this opportunity to learn. This is what a palace of a true rogue trader looks like, not a xeno-menagerie, a pirate's treasure hold, or, however difficult it may be for you to believe it, an orbital brothel. Oh, believe me, I tend to enjoy myself to the full, to justify so long a voyage, if nothing else. Keep the faith, Amelia. The Emperor... Keep the faith, Amelia. The Emperor protects. I hope your ladyship is pleased and not yet tired. If you wish to revive yourself a little, I would suggest proceeding to the courtyard, if I may be so bold. Many of the guests have chosen to move into the fresh air and will be eager to offer you their congratulations. It's magnificent. I dare say it will live on as the premier high society event of the sector for many years. Pascal greets you with a bow, extending congratulations to Unit Amelia von Valencius on attaining your new legal status. The servitor standing next to him is examining you obliquely, quickly looks away upon realizing what? It is Nomos' new repository. Nomos, this unit identifies as Amelia von Valencius. Two-way identification complete. The servitor looks at you again, no longer trying to avoid your gaze. Its face is twitching, as if the muscles have forgotten what facial expressions are and are now struggling to make its features look amiable. We are Nomos. We have made use of this receptacle to leave the ship. Greetings, Nomos. We enjoy greetings. We enjoy communication. Nomos require communication, knowledge, movement. Magos Pascal compelled us not to speak with anyone other than him or you. It is disappointing, but at least we can observe. Nomos have changed since we last spoke with you, Amelia. We are now able to conceptualize our previous experience, that of solitude. We no longer enjoy it. Every 15 watches, I commune with Nomos' code and spend prescribed lengths of time in calculus meditation. However, the Omnissiah has yet to bless me with an answer. All I can say is that the capabilities of the entity Nomos are extraordinary. The ship's hallowed systems sing beneath its touch. Nomos nodes that have remained dead for hundreds of standard years are revivified, and long-trained mechanisms live anew. Nomos are trying. Great machines of the Imperium, one such as your ship, house a machine spirit so complex and willful that it is difficult to tell them apart from abominable intelligence. There remains a possibility that Nomos is an entity of corruption, but with every day I grow stronger in my faith that it is not so, that what we are witnessing is in truth the Omnissiah's miracle, one that is Category 5 or higher. That is not the entirety of us. This receptacle is too narrow, crude, and feeble to contain our complete whole. The existence of Nomos requires a space of connections. But we were able to transfer a small part of us and build a thread strong enough to travel outside the ship. We are enjoying this journey, discovery. Even though this receptacle suits us poorly, it will soon be destroyed by the force of our presence. Nomos are consciousness, awareness, knowledge, movement, always movement. We do not know what we are. We have no past. We awakened in the depths of the ship upon answering the call. Our first clear memory is the call of your blood, Amelia von Valencius. The call and the plea for help near a place that is called the Warrant Chamber. Entity Nomos asked permission for this visit. My objective was to observe the process of the integration into a servitor. He wanted to see, observe, cognize, speak. The servitor makes a strange, wavy gesture with hands that looks at once very human and far from anything human. We want to speak with you. Will you speak with us? Many things, happenings, events, decisions. The servitor's eyes roll in their sockets before focusing on you. We have been observing you. You do things that we do not understand. We want to learn why. You remember the day we first met you. You gave us your blood to drink. We helped you save yourself. We followed you. Our small part did. Inside the servo skull. Then there was fire, and the creature of sated hunger and dark light standing behind the curtain. Behind the image, behind the semblance of Theodora, it called for you to follow. And you followed that which was calling from behind the curtain. You let it lead you out of the fire. You remember the day when the star disappeared, when the dark light and the sated hunger wanted to take the world. Rycat Minoris was its name in the ship's data. You let Rycat Minoris be consumed by the dark light, and consumed it was, along with every human shell who was begging for help. We remember another day. We awakened inside the ship, we lived in its systems, then we tried to emerge into servitor like this one. Then so many of our receptacles were gathered in one place. You ordered them killed. You felt sad. This is what we have seen, among other things. We have begun to understand. We think that we have, but we do not know everything about humans and about you, Amelia von Valencius. We have tried analyzing shells and defining sets of their needs and fears, their simple functions, but now we think there is more. That there is another side that we do not see, a notion that is larger than what we can compute, something that stands above fear and needs, something that drives them. We envisage this larger notion as liquid, a sticky saccharine stream. It is like the dark light and sated hunger and all else that is always watching us. You drink this liquid eagerly, you revel in it, it gives you strength, desires, energy, and courage. beckons, it also consumes. Those whom you cast aside, those who are weak, and those who get in the way. Do Nomos understand correctly? We understand you. It is what we feel. The urge, the irrepressible force. Perhaps it is because we have tasted your blood. And it fills us still. Oh, thank you for speaking with us. Nomos are grateful. We cannot continue moving on our own. Oh, that was interesting. A group of aristocrats stands apart from the governor's circle. Their whispering carries a tinge of displeasure. A clear leader of this group is a villainous-faced man dressed in sourback colors. This must be Macharius himself, head of the house. He offers you a ceremonious bow. My congratulations, your ladyship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. The woman with whom he is conversing, the one dressed in a robe with gear-shaped adornments, is Toriana Gaprak. It is difficult to read her face due to it being covered in numerous augmentations. You catch Heinrich's intent gaze upon you as he breaks off from agitatedly catching at a date. He makes a subtle gesture, clearly wishing to speak with you. Toriana Gaprak looks rather anxious. Macharius Auerbach, dressed in surprisingly plain and austerely for an aristocrat of such a high rank, is frowning suspiciously. He came to a reception with a companion, a woman of dazzling beauty wearing a gilded augment necklace around her throat. His wife, probably. Heinrich, who joined the group unnoticed, mostly keeps silent, listening intently to their every word. Like a forging hammer, Toriana's voice falls heavily on the ear. The corruption of Kiavagama was a great blow to my family. Contemptible Cubist Delphin betrayed our trust, desecrated the forged cathedrals, and took my esteemed cousin's life. On behalf of my family, I humbly beg you to forgive our negligence. I am ready to accept any punishment. There is something lurking beneath Toriana's repentant expression, a grudge. It would seem that she was personally offended by the nightmare into which Ubis Delphin plunged her domain, and she feels betrayed. We as Gapraks originate from the Calixus sector, from the cluster of planets known as the Lave Worlds. We work faithfully for the good of our masters there, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and through our service we gained a spark of the Omnissiah's knowledge. Then fate tied us through the bonds of fealty to the venerable von Valentius dynasty. We found ourselves in the Coronation expanse. Generation after generation, we fulfilled our duty faultlessly until Kiavagama destroyed and disgraced our name. I swear on the Omnissiah's all-encompassing insight, we will make every effort to justify the cost of its resurrection. Sharius scoffs. It was only a year ago that none could doubt House Gaprek's usefulness. Yet here you are, Toriana, on your knees, justifying the cost. Macharius's face twists into an unpleasant smile, which makes the artificial skin on his left side all the more prominent. I am a servant of the von Valentius dynasty. Had I not come, I would have committed an act of unacceptable insolence and damaged my family's honor. Macharius' wife offers you a charming smile as if apologizing for her husband's vitriolic tone. Her large dark eyes are brimming with curiosity. I am your dynasty's loyal servant, but you have asked, and I will answer. Too long has the Corona's expanse lived under the rule of rogue traders. The privileges granted to them make people think that commoners, too, can dismiss the prohibitions of the Imperium. For the good of the sector, rogue traders must become paragons of law, not exceptions to it. But do many warrant holders exhibit lawful conduct? No, they do not. Even you, your ladyship, are subject of strangest rumors, and you have just recently inherited your protectorate. Conrad Voigtbeard's people, for instance, claim that you had a hand in the esteemed Theodora's demise, and accuse you of many other misdeeds. It doesn't matter whether or not their claims are true. The people hear them, believe them, and think that they may follow your examples. Charius places his hand on the hilt of his sword, then glances with uncertainty at the images of the Emperor gazing upon him from every direction, then at you. His fingers release the hilt. No, I do not believe his words. I am your servant, and my oath to your dynasty is harder than steel. I am guilty of repeating an ignominious lie, and I will pay a fine. And anyone who repeats it in my presence, I will challenge to a duel to the death. Masharius puffs out his chest and says proudly, "The Sourbeck line was one of the first noble houses to arrive in the Coronation expanse. For millennia we have served the golden throne and kept the faith. Sourbeck warriors have bled in 100 different wars and at different times have ruled a great many colonies of the Von Valencius dynasty." "It is an honor to be in your company, your ladyship." "It's been very illuminating, given me plenty of food for thought." Heinrich's response is barely audible. "We need to talk, Amelia, immediately." "Not here. Let's go elsewhere. This won't take long." As soon as you exit the crowd and find yourself alone, you realize that something is wrong with Heinrichs. His face is fixed in its usual expression of grim inscrutability, but something, his tightly clenched jaw or the slight creasing around his eyes, reveals the change in him. When he begins to speak, his voice thrums with tension. "We don't have much time, Amelia. I brought you here away from prying eyes because I have something very important to tell you." He breaks off, looking past you, whether suspicious of being observed or simply in choosing his next words you cannot say. You see his jaw muscles tickling his cheek, and the corner of his mouth twitches uncontrollably. Heinrich exhales and looks directly at you for the first time in this conversation. His expression is strange, tormented. "Listen to me. Tonight, something very important is going to happen. Steel yourself and be prepared. Do not do anything foolish, I beg you. Bear in mind that you are not being threatened with anything right now. Remember that. I give you my word." "No, don't be afraid. Fear is your worst ally. You will be fine." "I swear on the Golden Throne and all that is holy. Amelia, I cannot reveal everything without contravening prohibitions and vows that are far more important than you or I. There are lines I cannot cross." "Yet, despite all that, I know I had to give you fair warning, if you can call it that. Let them charge me with whatever they want. I had to make you aware there is no genuine threat to your life, because..." "Thank you, Amelia. You should go back. The rogue trader's absence will not go unnoticed. Until next time." Can I talk to other people here? Ah. Some of these people are very stupid, aren't they, Jasmine? I hope at least this celebration in your honor won't end with a shootout. Your gathering looks odd and unusual. I will remember this. There's Abelard. Oh, there's Drivestem. Governor Urban Drivestem stands around surrounded by highborn guests like a planet orbited by many moons. All of his charm is directed at a man in resplendent armor adorned with the sigil of the Inquisition, but as soon as you approach, Drivestem is the first to give you an elegant bow, getting ahead of the rest in the expression of loyalty. This is a great day, your ladyship. Among the aristocrats surrounding the opulently dressed Drivestem, you notice a couple of young nobles in Sourbeck and Caprak colors. It would seem that the major noble families of Dargonis have decided to introduce their younger members to high society. The tall man in a grey power armor adorned with a column, adorned with a column with a skull, is undoubtedly a high-ranking inquisitor. He keeps to the periphery of the conversation, seldom deigning to comment. Next to him is his entourage, a rangy warrior in black armor and a tech priest dressed in red, whose face is hidden behind a brass mask. Abelard stands somewhat apart from the others, as if reluctant to approach Drivestem. Next to him is a young woman, and you notice the family resemblance between them. Drivestem is obviously still the leader of Dargonis aristocracy, but judging by the courtesy he is showing to young Sourbeck, he clearly wants to strengthen his relationship with that house. The senior Sourbeck and Gaprak are whispering in another corner. Sourbeck, his family seems to be giving you the cold shoulder. Must be trying to sway Gaprak to his side, which could be quite advantageous to Lady Gaprak. After all, the disaster on Kiavagama has left her family in an extremely vulnerable position. The Wisarians stand apart, their exclusion from the rest palpable. Drivestem is obviously that case, allow me to be the first to offer them. Drivestem snaps his fingers, and several servants approach you with gifts. The governor points to a thin and curved Drukari blade. My soldiers took this splendid trophy from the body of one of the Xenos commanders. The weapon is too beautiful and forbidden for anyone but your ladyship. Young Sourbeck squeezes proof to be next, pushing Gaprak aside with confidence. Your ladyship, House Sourbeck anticipates the onset of unsettled and bloody times. To make the ungodly Xenos cower at your approach, my family humbly presents you with a dozen pieces of secondary armament for your ship. Young Gaprak vows ceremoniously. House Gaprak is delighted to present you with this blessed work of the Omnissiah's smiths. May this locator matrix, which took the holy artisan an entire lifetime to create, only show you the right path. Having let the aristocrats go first as a sign of deference, Abelard is the last to speak. Your ladyship, House Viserion possesses no relics worthy of your acceptance, but we are rich and talented and hard-working people. As a sign of our loyalty, I humbly offer you my flesh and blood. 100 of my kin will go to colonies in your protectorate and use all their talents so that the worlds in your charge may prosper. We were talking about the brutal Xenos raid on our fair Dargonis. So many victims, so much damage to our industries. Such a terrible shame it is that warp currents delayed our protector's arrival. There is an acidic hint to his words, but it is too faint for you to call them to account. Judging by young Sourbeck's unpleasant smile, it is not just your imagination. Sharing the sector with the blasted Xenos is impossible. I hope we will respond to their raid on Dargonis with a punitive campaign. I do. Their pestilence against the Emperor must be exterminated. He talks ardently and smoothly, like a commissar. His places his hand on the hilt of his finely adoring sword, his pale face ablaze with noble fury. By having a member of the Inquisition by your side at the ceremony, your ladyship has shown your intent to closely abide by the Imperium's credo, to root out the Xenoscourge, and House Sourbeck will offer every support to you in this righteous undertaking. Isn't Gaprak, or they must be forced into servitude. Many Xenos are more useful alive and obedient than dead. I wonder what number 1 will get me. I think it... Sourbeck raises its chin proudly and glances at the austere decorations in the palace, the weapons, the sacred banners, and the glorious trophies. By the look of it, some of his youthful dream is coming true. It is an honor for me to serve you, your ladyship. I swear it before the Emperor, I won't let you down. The Inquisitor stands among the guests, smiles faintly, and leans towards you. He whispers, I congratulate you on procuring a highborn hostage. Bravo. He responds with a dignified bow. His proud face is calm and unfaltering. My greetings to you, esteemed Amelia von Valencius. May shadows never darken the light of the Astronomicon that guides you. I appreciate your display of loyalty to the Imperium. By having one of the Holy Ordo's member at your side during the ceremony, you have demonstrated that you consider yourself a daughter in the fold of our reverent organization. The Inquisitor's companion, a crimson-robed member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, bows to you. From behind the brass mask with dozens of augmetics comes a metallic rasp. Glory to the on Valencia's heir. The Lord Inquisitor's relaxed expression radiates an odd sense of menace. He is akin to a predator on the prowl, content to hide in the brush of a fake smile and elegant conversation. For now. but only for now. Among the many augmentations, what stands out is the horribly melted, deformed cogitator connected to the tech priest's head. How it is working is baffling. What is twice as baffling is that the tech priest hasn't replaced it yet. What unpredictable influence can this ruined implant have on his mind? I, however, have been told all about you. The Inquisitor's face is impenetrable, but behind this you detect a hint of mockery. Well, mockery is better than malevolence. Because, like, I'm going heretic playthrough, and this guy... Oh, damn. You do not want this guy to show up if you're going heretic playthrough. Let's just hope that Heinrichs is right, and this guy... and I don't need to be afraid. An oversight, to be sure. My name is Xavier Calcazar, and I have the honor of serving as a member of the illustrious Ordos Xenos, the head of the Coronation Expanse Conclave, and the Lord Inquisitor of this region. It is my unending task to ensure this sector's readiness to meet external threats and resist internal corruption. This is Brass Whisper, which, naturally, is not his real name. The esteemed Magos is a member of my retinue. There are times when I am forced to by my duty to the Emperor to deal with xenotechnology, and Brass Whisper ensures my safety in such moments. Works that have been desecrated by Xenos are dangerous. They warrant... His whispering cuts off, replaced by heavy, ragged breathing. It seems that the tech priest's quiet voice is not an extravagant quirk, but rather a consequence of some injury. After catching his breath, Brass Whisper continues, warrant due caution. The evening will certainly be illuminating. Your ladyship, allow me to introduce the daughter of Chancellor Coronation West Arian and my great-granddaughter, Artia. Abelard looks solemnly upon the young woman with barely concealed pride. I am delighted to witness you, your ladyship. Astartia bows, keeping her observant and intelligent eyes trained on you. Modesty forbids my esteemed forebearer to save himself, so I will. Our entire family is grateful to you for wishing to see someone of Wissarian blood at your side to claim your inheritance. Drivestem exchanges telling glances with young Sauerbeck, who, judging by his face, is suddenly finding the collar of his expensive frock coat uncomfortably tight. It is difficult to put into words, your ladyship. Never before have I seen such a grand and striking ceremony. Oh. Gaprak likes her. They are in the city, preoccupied with running festivities and watching over some of the more crucial services. No incidents can be allowed to ruin your ceremony. Like the last time I met with an MC. Starshia frowns and adds peevishly, I asked the esteemed Abelard to put me to some important task, too, but he bid me attend the reception, where I can do nothing to serve your ladyship. Hetka Sauerback smirks. If I had known, I too would have asked Abelard to let you miss the party. Starship flushes and starts talking quickly with fire in her voice. It would seem that she finds work-related conversations far more interesting than court gossip. Of course, I've been working on a project for the last 4 years. We could set up... Enough of Starsha. I highly doubt that her ladyship is interested in listening to the fantasies of a young woman about how to run her protectorate. Hardened, Astarsha considers in the tone of a seasoned administrative clerk. Our suggestion is to set up a chain of stations in the void, plasma beacons that would signal the passing ships. By placing them in logistically sound locations, we could simplify our ships' routes so that they may split long warp jumps into a series of safer, shorter jumps from one beacon to another. This would have a positive effect on the overall safety of and journeys and the accessibility of colonies. Yeah. More and more her technical terms and percentages creep into her speech. She quotes Lex Mechanic reports and accounts of starship captains. Starchy's vigor and sharp mind are enough to silence even the most venomous of commentators. They all stand there in silence, trying to digest what she's saying. Abelard surveys the quiet nobles with triumph, and then looks at his great-granddaughter with pride. Absolutely, your ladyship. We respect him for his wisdom, and he repays us with attention and kindness. I am obliged, dear Astartia. It looks like Abelard is somewhat embarrassed by the turn this conversation has taken. Thank you, your ladyship. What is this? The earling Crackly's Inna's trophy is a testament to how the Omnissiah's gift become twisted and shadows of themselves in the hands of inhumans. The Venerable Lehman Russ is known as the Scipion Punisher. This one, and has served the Von Valencia's dynasty for 2 centuries. It was hit in battle with the Xenos that inhabited Scipia too, but heroically destroyed 63 enemy vehicles and brought victory to its comrades, securing its status as a relic blessed by the Emperor. The magnificent altar to the god Emperor is wreathed in the fumes of precious incense. Drukari is angrily muttering curses directed at the detestable Monk High, promising horrible tortures for everyone present. Wild Xeno beasts are growling ferociously, adding the flare of danger to the mood of the palace. I mean, on the one hand, yes, you're a mutant. On the other, you look a lot like a plague walker. Fragment of an Eldari pillar, a trophy to the rogue trader and a never-before-seen oddity to most citizens of the Imperium. chambers are ready, your ladyship. Guards, quiet, time to sleep. We need to talk, in private.
We have matters to discuss, von Valancius.
The same man you saw waiting for you and saw among your guests is waiting for you in your chambers, with the look of someone who is supposed to be there. He casts a cold, incessant gaze over you from top to bottom. None save Theodora have ever allowed themselves the liberty of looking at you in such a way. The woman behind Count Kazar, clad in black armor, glares at you, her face set in predatory readiness for immediate violence, the hallmark of a professional bodyguard.
Probably. Unless he suffered from hidden ailments, he will soon come to without any major damage to his health. Either way, oblivion is a far safer option for him than the dangerous privilege of being a witness to this conversation. A commendable openness to cooperation. It will be taken into account. Master Van Kellox has spent enough time with you. He will vouch for your words. What stands out from your recent accomplishments is the suppression of a rebellion on Janus, the battle against the archenemy's minions on Kiava Gamma, and, of course, the unusual interest the Drakari have shown in you. Then that is what we will discuss. What was the reasoning behind your decision to let Xenos, enemies of humanity, live and act on a planet that belongs to you?
Let's go with 2.
Your way of thinking is curious. Dangerous, but curious nonetheless. I would suggest exercising utmost caution should you wish to continue on this path.
Do I want him to come out and admit Heinrich has been spying on me? And maybe bait him into saying, like,
I cannot satisfy your curiosity without disclosing information of the utmost secrecy. I will say only this. We had the situation under control. There is a tangled knot of perilous events in progress in the Coronus expanse.
Yep,
Plucking even one thread must be performed with great precision and caution, without any room for error. Because you do not want to know the price of such an error, or what forms it might take. Are you surprised? You thought the Inquisition was unaware of the circumstances of your deeds. How often do you find yourself thinking that there are things we shouldn't know about your life? It is my job to know everything, and I do it very well. Keep that in mind.
I just want...
Places touched by chaos
He's
must be purged with fire and condemned to oblivion. Kiava Gamma should have been bombed to dust and pronounced a forbidden world. However, you decided otherwise and restored the colony's operation. And you didn't even go to the trouble of hiding the traces of the neglect committed by your dynasty. After all, it was House von Valancius that gave Cubis Delphin so much freedom that he sank into seditious heresy. What was your rationale?
shall we be... Honesty is half of the best policy. So which half-truth shall we tell here? Four is very dangerous, but I want to see how he reacts to it.
I eagerly await the moment when you show me your rosette of the Holy Inquisition. Surely you have it on you. You don't? How strange. I thought that such experiments were within the purview of my esteemed colleagues from the Ordo Hereticus. I hope you realize that we're talking about more than the fate of some colony. I care not for a single planet, however profitable and populous. But should corruption raise its head again on Kiava Gamma and try to spread, I will burn it away. And you will be guilty of criminal negligence. Yes, the enmity between you is a known fact, but there is another way to look at it. On Veabos 6, you met the Archon of a mighty cabal, whose presence there seems strange to begin with, and lived. You subsequently encountered a number of her closest henchmen. Yet, again, you survived. Your capital fell victim to a nefarious attack, but even this time, their daggers missed your heart. Such remarkable luck. To be a personal enemy of such an influential Xenos, to have been attacked so many times and yet make it out alive. So remarkable that one has to wonder, am I watching a spectacle? Could all these thrilling massacres be an alibi of sorts, meant to establish you once and for all as an enemy of the Xenos and never their ally or even their agent? At least you're not denying the obvious. That's a good start. Just remember, should you wish to repent, I will accept your confession with as much lenience as I accepted your words just now. Far from it, my dear. The questions are manifold. How did you manage to survive the battle that claimed the life of Theodora, who was so much more experienced
Because
and
they were
skilled
targeting
than you?
her.
Is it a coincidence that you and you alone then made it out of the trap on Rykad Minoris? How much truth is there in the rumors being spread by the heretic Kunrad Voitvir about you? Was it virtuous of you to allow the warp-stricken Voigtsmen to join your crew? The ones who served on the ship that was turned into a trap for you by Kunrad Voitvir? Isn't it possible that they were part of the blight he had sown? The very existence of these questions would have made many of my colleagues doubt the quality of your character, but it won't in this case. The Inquisition, which I represent, is willing to show extraordinary faith in your person. For the sake of our invaluable partnership, I'm going to ignore any minor liberties that you, esteemed rogue trader, may have afforded yourself or may again in the future. I hope you appreciate the generosity of this offer, as your predecessor once did. And benefited greatly from it. The world's power is not without limit, and neither is the protection it provides. All those mysterious expeditions, dubious experiments, collections of xenotech oddities are dangerous pastimes. It takes more than the Emperor's permission to pursue them without consequences. One must also make sure I am not displeased by it. Let me demonstrate how it works. In your retinue, there is a Psyker who is yet to receive Terra's sanction, which, as we both know, is a grave threat and a blasphemy to the laws of the Imperium. I am aware of this secret, but I'm not displeased in the slightest. And so she lives on, your handy Psyker, Idira Tlass.
I cannot deny the possibility that Lady Theodora may have lamented losing some of the freedoms she enjoyed prior to my arrival in the Expanse, nor will I deny that our partnership began with me exerting a certain amount of influence. However, you are not Lady Theodora. Let us put the difficulties that encumbered our relationship to rest along with her. I do not recommend troubling yourself with the affairs of the past, for they have no bearing on your present position. Theodora chose to forget about this particular matter. Follow her example, and your fate will be the better for it.
You haven't been in a position of power for long, and so one can forgive you for not noticing the troubling changes. The cult of the Final Dawn is spreading in the Coronation Expanse. Not the first or the last heresy that has afflicted this sector, but one that is surprisingly resilient. Mysterious convoys are sliding by, bound for systems in the heathen stars. Just your humdrum pirate trade, wouldn't you say? Then why are the pirates themselves clueless? The Xenos, who have caused trouble in the sector before, have expanded their activities in the last few decades, and there is a logic and a method to their previously chaotic raids. Even 2 packs of space wolves, blessed space marines summoned in my name, did not cool their interest in the Expanse. A mighty explorative fleet, which has studied the Expanse for hundreds of years, has suddenly stopped responding to communication and sunk into a dispute over a tech heresy that was considered dead a couple of centuries ago. House Chorda has clamped down on insurgents, yet its acts of brutality breed troublemakers just as quickly as they're executed, and this bloody carousel has consumed the attention of the esteemed Incendiar. Koligos Winterscale has abruptly lost all interest in his domain, and his only apparent concern now is hunting even more dangerous xenobeasts. And the third and final rogue trader has unexpectedly perished, stabbed in the back by her own Master of Whispers. The Expanse is swiftly losing its protectors right when communication with the Imperium is being disrupted by the raging warp. Basically, all the Expanse has left is me and you, if you follow my instructions. Which would you prefer? And you, Heinrichs, do you wish to continue working at the Honorable Rogue Trader's side?
I will comply with any order, Lord Inquisitor. If you command me to remain in the company of the scion of the von Valancius dynasty, I won't be distressed.
Without a doubt, Master Van Kellogg's has earned my complete trust by repeatedly demonstrating courage, loyalty, and cunning. His mathematical mind, not given to sentiment, can be of great use in an emergency. You, my dear Heinrichs, have made a far better agent than you would have a pilot of an Imperial Knight. Then Master Van Kellogg's will remain in place. It puts me at ease to know that there is someone to watch over you.
I consider it an honor to accompany you.
I make no deals, and Emperor forbid that I give you orders. That would mean infringing on your privileges. I'm merely offering well-meaning recommendations and expecting that, when the Expanse finds itself in danger, you will break away from your own affairs to heed them.
You're politely ordering me.
I seem to remember that your exalted aristocrats presented you with many gifts. It would be rude of me not to follow suit. Please accept this gift as a sign of my favor. In an hour of need, give it to any faithful servant of the Emperor, and the Inquisition will come to your aid. The color indicates how close the bearer is to the Lord Inquisitor. Scarlet means that you have shed your blood for the good of the Imperium, and therefore, you deserve to have his servants shed their blood for you. I am glad to hear it. Your oath has been heard and added to the record. Here is where we part. My shuttle is waiting. It is time for me to return to my watch, for you to sleep, and for your servant to wake up. Until next we meet.
Amelia, I assume you now understand what I was warning you about. I pray to the throne that you understand why I was unable to tell you everything. Now, I'm not gay, but neither is Amelia. We're role-playing, people. We're role-playing. Okay. That was interesting.
The rise of the rogue trader Heir restored a tenuous equilibrium to the Fon Valancius Protectorate. For a time, threats subsided, activity returned to trade routes, and reclaimed worlds began to heal. The new Lord Captain's subjects praised the God Emperor and their leader wholeheartedly. For none knew what fate might await them.
Okay. You have spent the first few hours of your morning listening to the High Factotum's lengthy report on the latest trade exchanges, arrangements, disputes, and countless bureaucratic procedures. From outside the illuminated, tightly closed windows, you can hear muffled sounds of Dargonis and its everyday life, the life that has been passing you by lately as you have been preoccupied with the affairs of your protectorate from dawn till dusk. Clementia Wessarian barely contains a yawn. Once generous Danrock has finished, she pulls out her data slate. Thank you for your report, High Factotum. Your work is highly appreciated, both by everyone here and the Adeptus Administratum. Your ladyship, we are almost done here. We just need to go over the final items on today's agenda that I would like to report to you personally. Allow me to pass on gifts from your loyal subjects of a high nobility of Argonis. It goes without saying that every living soul in your protectorate is blessed to serve your ladyship faithfully and wholeheartedly. However, this humble gesture is meant as a token of deepest appreciation of your magnanimity towards their esteemed families. House Viserion made arrangements for the delivery of several tons of supplies for your future journeys. The house is also transferring a regiment of its finest into your personal charge. Each of these brave troopers has undergone rigorous voidfarer training and will be humbled to lay down their life for you, Lord Captain. Clementia is trying to maintain a neutral expression, but you can see her face is beaming with pride. Please command them as you see fit. Lord Captain, news of particular import has come from the House's intelligence network. Lord Inquisitor Kalkazar is rumored to be planning a visit to Footfall. A number of Imperial Navy ships were commandeered by Lord Kalkazar, and they are also being scrambled to Footfall. Furthermore, we have received reports claiming that secret messages were delivered to the capital worlds of House Chorda and Winterscale. It is possible that Lord Inquisitor's call to arms may smother the conflict that is brewing between the two dynasties. We are seeing an increasing number of skirmishes between their ships and neutral systems. I do not doubt that Her Ladyship Chorda will attempt to sway the Lord Inquisitor to her side, especially since his Lordship Winterscale's luck seems to be running out. Riots have broken out on several of his worlds, and yet he has shown no intention of quelling them. Instead, the rogue trader has inflicted brutal punishment upon one of his oldest colonies, Vesuvius Secundus, based on allegations of seditious sentiment. Oddly enough, our agents were unable to find any proof of sedition among the populace there. As soon as we have any updates, you will be the first to know, your ladyship. Clementia, and this is down at her data slate. Lastly, your pet Xenos, Eureliot, I believe, is seeking a meeting with you. She has had the audacity to defile the rogue trader's palace with her profane presence and refuses to leave until she has spoken with you. I would never presume to be able to read the emotions of Xenos, but Eldari seems to be perturbed. And with that, please allow me and Master Denrock to take our leave. Perhaps the last request will serve as a welcome distraction. Indeed, your ladyship's stay on Dargonis has been rather long. However, your protectorate is now enjoying a period of relative stability that, for the time being, no longer demands... Oh, I know what happened. Fuck. I didn't go to the thing, and now the thing is... Elentok, at last you have left your ornate cage. For many a turn I have sought to meet with you, and yet your servant, one who's like the silver-haired Abelard, but twice as young, has no favor for the requests of a child of Assyria, and take me to a place where the hearing of others will not steal the words intended for you. While you were mending the wounds of this world left by the Twisted One's attack, I was able to discover, no, not Krudarik's fate, merely traces of it. As Luaran found sanctuary under the boughs of Leviathan's forest, so did my other kin find refuge in a system known as Atlas Reach. We must make a journey there with haste, before new danger destroys the witnesses who can show me the way to the lost Krudarik, whose fate remains shrouded by the stars. Your knowledge is the sole thread that may lead me to the truth, Elentok. I ask that your metal-winged ship take me along the thread before it tears under the strain of time and circumstance. No, I did not contact the Assyriani. I had no means to do so, but I had enough time to explore the stone jungle of your world while you were preoccupied with your urgent matters. The path of the outcast has taught me to observe and listen to the world around me. In this case, the throngs of Monkai at the port. Errant conversations, rumors, chance words, like parts of a speckled mosaic, they came together to form a hazy image. My kin were seen in the Atlas Reach, and now All we have to do is pull at the web of connections and possibilities to uncover what is concealed from the unseen eye. You will? Thank you, Alantok. If this path indeed takes me to the truth, I will be indebted to you. A rare happening between our kinds. This is interesting. Alantok, I finally found you in this dwelling. The symbol has many meanings. Nearly it comes closer and smoothly makes unfamiliar gesture with her hands. This symbol has many meanings. Humility, grief, loss, shame, regret. I hope you will accept them all, because I am sorry for what happened to your world, to your subjects, to your palace, and for what my kin did to them. We come from the same source, Alantok. We share the same blood, even though Trikari's blood is distorted and their souls empty. It is a fact that simply cannot be brushed aside. My words will not heal the wound, nor bring back the fallen. And they will not restore your protectorate. However, look, Alantok, the gaze of the child of Assyrian can penetrate deeper than a monk's eyes, and I see all the heaviness that has accumulated in your soul during our travels. I see it in your gestures, in the tilt of your head, in the change in your scent. If you will allow me, I will help you cast off this burden and cleanse your soul and mind of worry. It's difficult to describe, Alantok, but your soul shines bright and your mind is strong enough for you to be able to immerse yourself in your own mind and cleanse it of unnecessary cares. I am still not sure your species is capable of doing such a thing, but it's worth a try. Nothing comes of it, and the only thing you will lose is a small fraction of your time. I will guide you on this journey. I will help you enter the meditative state, to get to know yourself. Of course, that is if you let me. Immersing yourself in your soul is a deeply intimate process, but you will not be able to do it without me. And I promise you, Alantok, that I will not judge you. You or your world, or anything that takes place inside it. You will see only what you want to see. Embers of genuine curiosity glimmer in her emerald gaze. To know a human soul is a unique opportunity for an Eldari, and clearly its uncharacteristic caution and uncertainty imply that she is also discomfited and by her own keen interest. Let go of everything, Alantok. Doubts, fears, emotions. Cast off away. Good. Now try looking inside your soul. Look at it shining timidly, and dive in. Okay, this is interesting. We did it, Alantok. So far your world resembles the real one, but remember that everyone here is just a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and desires. Do not be afraid to look them in the eye. Standing at the helm, peering into the darkness of the cosmos, you feel as lonely.
It's about time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a little disturbing.
Follow my lead.
Have you already forgotten me, Amelia? Oh, don't ever forget me, not even for a moment, because as soon... Goodbye. Oh, yeah. And we don't even talk about that.
None shall stand in my way.
She has something nice to say about me.
I won't tolerate weakness. I'll lay claim to the stars. It's about time.
I align my path with yours. For now.
What is this, Monkai? The voice of the incorporeal echo that has made your soul its home seems to sound only in your head. Juliet's face tenses in surprise, her features becoming even sharper as she stares in confusion at the ghostly figures. She says nothing, stealing glances at you, then at the figures again, as if she is waiting for something. Strange feeling envelops your body. You feel yourself becoming lighter than air, and inside your mind your thoughts are racing at incredible speed. You are not yet aware that you are looking through the eyes of your ghostly echo and observing from afar, all at the same time. The inner world changes under the force of your will, and you can now control your own echo. You can do now something that you would not dare to do in the real world. When your soul's echo touches the ghostly hand of the Andari, the real unit flinches in fear and involuntarily pulls her own hand back. Please, Elentok, this may be your world, but I will not do that again. It's time to return, Elentok. Your soul is not yet strong enough to endure prolonged immersion. Take a deep breath and... Oh. You awaken from your meditation with a sense of vigor and unusual calm, as if you have just taken a shower under a freezing waterfall, or delivered a speech in front of thousands of subjects, and your heart swells from the crowd's adulation. Amelia, you are awake. Juliet starts at her own words, realizing this is the first time she's ever called you by your name. Her soul shines too radiantly for a human, despite all the litter that had accumulated in your soul. You can get rid of the litter, but the light, try to preserve it, Amelia. It draws the eyes like bright stars into night sky. Of course, your world is not as beautiful and serene as mine, but I was glad to see it. You long for that which human nature desires, for intimacy with your own kind. I can understand that. I do not know. Perhaps someday. My heart sings, for I have helped you find peace, even if only for a short while. Until we meet again, Alantok, may the stars guide us along the safe roads. Okay, that actually is a very good stopping place. So, until next time, have fun and take care of each other out there. I will see you tomorrow.